That's great. I'm hoping that we'll have more questions when we start. Okay. Let's do this one more time. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mthutuzeli Kulekana, and I'm going to be your host and a facilitator for this program. It's not a long program. It's very short, and then we're going to try and keep it as crisp as possible so that no one gets bored. And I've got people all over from all over the country, schools in the Northern Cape, schools in KZN, and schools in the Eastern Cape, and also schools from the Western Cape. But without much further ado, I think we should just start and get straight into the program. We have a lady called Zoleka Filanda, who is doing deep sea research. And deep sea research, I really mean deep sea research, people who go to the bottom of the ocean. And I think I'll rather let her to do the talking. Hey, Zoleka, are you there?
Hi, Mthutuzeli. Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm currently zooming in. I'm currently zooming in from one of the most amazing vessels of its time in the North Atlantic. I'm not sure if you can see my background. I'm sat on the bridge level. Very exciting times. The vessel is fitted with some of the most amazing infrastructure, which I'll get into in a moment. But can we just play that video, Mthutuzeli, before I start? I think that short video will just help introduce me before I get into some of these ecosystems. Am I correct by assuming that you're trying to play the video, Mthutuzeli? Sorry, Mthutuzeli, you need to put on the audio because it can't. Just start from the beginning and put on the audio. Don't mute yourself because we can't hear the context behind the pictures.
Can you hear?
Yes, can you start from the beginning, please?
I will do exactly that. Okay, let's start.
Interestingly, there is no sound, Mthutuzeli, in this video, so it's a bit pointless without any sound.
There's no sound. Okay, we are trying to get it sorted, so.
Mthutuzeli?
So, I can hear you.
We can't hear you.
Can you see the video? But, hey, can you see the video, but you can't hear the audio?
Oh, gosh.
You guys want to talk? The importance of diversity in both the operational and living space is well documented. And in South Africa, we will be on this. We are a country with efficient boundaries. I would say there's definitely this variation that will be critical in finding solutions to the complex challenges that we face today. Challenges that are intertwined in the socio-economic status of our country. So although I advise each one of you to embrace your individuality and start exploring that passion, because it's that passion that will keep you going when the tide turns. I also really want to encourage you to collaborate, hold hands. There's no person, as I've said.
Where is the audio setting?
Really?
We're gonna try again, so I think you've got a nice story behind the video.
So how did a little girl raised by her maternal grandmother, a girl from the outskirts of the
Can you hear
We
now?
can't hear you, Mtuli, that side. We can't hear the video. So I think we can just scan the idea of the video and I'll just speak.
Okay.
Share again, and you'll see the share screen. Yeah.
Found the underlying deep. So how did a little girl raised by her maternal grandmother,
How's that?
a girl from the outskirts of rural Eastern Cape, end up in the field of marine biology?
Still can't hear anything. So it's
This
fine,
being
stop the video.
despite growing up not even knowing such a field existed. Her journey has, however, led her to spearheading deep sea research within the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries. Such research that contributes to the understanding of these complex
that's fine.
animals and areas.
So,
Dimensional cold and dark environment of the deep sea. The heterogeneity of our out-of-sight environment lends itself to interesting and quite valuable
maybe you want to speak to
resources,
it, so.
like this free-swimming eel, to the more sessile and semi-sessile inhabitants such as the hydroids and the sea stars. Documenting this dynamic environment and the changes the ocean might experience is key in developing guidelines. Guidelines that can assist us in better managing our ocean resources. How did a little girl raised by her maternal grandmother, a girl from the outskirts of rural Eastern Cape, end up in the field of marine biology? This being despite growing up not even knowing such a field existed. Her journey has, however, led her to spearheading deep sea research within the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries. Such research that contributes to the understanding of these complex animals and areas found in the underlying three-dimensional cold and dark environment of the deep sea. The heterogeneity of our out-of-sight environment lends itself to interesting and quite valuable resources, like this free-swimming eel, to the more sessile and semi-sessile inhabitants such as the hydroids and the sea stars. Documenting this dynamic environment and the changes the ocean might experience is key in developing guidelines. Guidelines that can assist us in better managing our ocean resources. Marine protected areas are one of the tools used to do this. And my research has contributed to establishment of some of the offshore marine protected areas. But no person is an island, and I've made it this far through the support and mentorship granted to me along the way, through the internal, external, and international collaborations. The importance of diversity in both the terrestrial and marine space is well documented. And in South Africa, we go beyond this. We are a country with 11 official languages. I would say it's definitely this variation that will be critical in finding solutions to the complex challenges that we face today. Challenges that are intertwined in the socio-economic status of our country. So although I advise each one of you to embrace your individuality and start exploring that passion, because it's that passion that will keep you going when the tide turns, I also really want to encourage you to collaborate, hold hands, because no person, as I've said, is an island.
Okay. Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you so much, Mthuzeli.
Okay.
For taking the time to share that video.
I apologize for that. Please go ahead, Zoe.
It's been a very bumpy morning, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So now that I've sort of like set the scene in terms of who I am, where I come from, and what sort of research, or at least how my research has been applied at a national level, I'm just going to share a few slides on. I'm just going to share my screen now in a moment. Can somebody please give me rights to share my screen? Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Can you see my screen, Mthuthuze?
I definitely see it. George Randall, do you see the screen? Yes. Solomon Matangu, can you see the screen? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so I think I can see the screen. Please go ahead.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm currently in the North Atlantic on this amazing platform that offers some vehicles that allow us to go to one of the most deepest and unexplored areas of our ocean space. So this is like beyond the surface, and the deeper you go, the more specialized tools you need to be able to unlock or better understand how these systems function. Such tools like the submarine that you see right now on the screen. And one might ask, why do we even bother? I mean, for several years, there was some sort of understanding that the deeper you go, the less life there is. But we have, and several researchers before me have been able to prove that the deeper environments are as diverse as our terrestrial systems. We can find underwater mountains that are thriving with life. We can find underwater lakes that we call brine pools. Some animals, such as sponges and corals, create this three-dimensional structure on the seabed, and therefore can be considered a habitat or ecosystems on their own. We also find these like hydrothermal vents, like chimneys underwater. And all of these ecosystems, all of these different types of habitats are quite, they have a suite of characteristic animals. And most of these systems have not really been documented in South Africa, but we are slowly catching up. We are almost there. Some of my work to date has really focused on the Cape Canyon. I call it the Grand Canyon of South Africa. It's one of the largest canyons in the country, and it's found on the western coast of South Africa. And these are just some examples of some of the animals or ecosystems that we sort of like, that we have documented within the area. So although like we are sort of like starting to set our eyes on these ecosystems, we still haven't really grasped the functionality and what this means for larger animals that you'll hear about quite soon from Mduduzi, such as the cetaceans or the whales. We haven't really grasped how these deeper environments intertwine, or what or how they might influence the pelagic system. So that's like your water masses just below the waves. So there's a lot of scope to sort of expand our knowledge. And one may ask, why is it important to even care about these systems that are out of sight? Well, I'm sure you all know at this point that the ocean provides an array of services that range from more direct, tangible ways, such as, food source. They also serve as our route for exports and imports, but we also get these more intangible services, such as climate regulation. So the circulation, open circulation, contributes to regulating our climate. And there's several other details or functions that the ocean play. So for us to be able to sustain and be able to unlock or ensure that we still inherit or we still benefit from these services, we need to understand what we're dealing with, because we can't really manage what we do not know. And I guess with that, I just really want to reach out to each one of you in the different provinces to just say, I hope you can see yourselves in the ocean, because we really do need help in terms of documenting and understanding these deeper ecosystems. The first step, of course, is finding them and knowing where they are. The next step will be centered around functionality and, of course, innovation. We cannot forget about innovation, because, like I mentioned, the deeper we go, the more specialized tools we need. So if you're a person who's more of you're more tech savvy, there's space for you in the ocean. If you're more of a person who likes to sit and critically look at one object, there's space for you in the ocean. So the dynamic functionality and just the nature of the space enables every single person to sort of come together and see themselves and contribute to us unlocking some of these resources. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. I hope you heard that.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you very much. Zolega is somewhere in the middle of are you in the Atlantic or in the Pacific zone? So if you want to send a question,
Atlantic.
There we go. Does someone want to send a message or to ask a question to someone in the Atlantic? You don't have to use a message bottle to send questions now. You can ask it live. 2 questions? Anyone from the school? No? If you are very shy in your school and you want to ask a question, otherwise you can use it. You can use the chat box or the message line on the side, and we can give you a reply later on, because it looks like the people are a little bit scared or shy. Okay, a quick information about Zolega. Zolega, she's South African. She's from Mount Frere, a small village called Mpumalanga, and she's doing deep sea research in the Atlantic away from South Africa. We have a problem with COVID-19 and HIV. When I see such pictures of corals and all the stuff that we have in the ocean, I sometimes think that the solution to these health problems might come from the ocean. I don't see any hand coming up, but I'm hoping that some questions will come through the chat box. All right, so I think we are done with you if you are still here. So thank you very much, Zo. I think, what time is it in where you are, Zolega?
It's just going to 9 o'clock now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Zolega. Thank you
So
very
you
much
guys
for making time for us. I think we're going to go straight to a shark dissection. We go straight from the bottom of the ocean and we go to a shark dissection. I welcome with us Stephen Mabungana. And he's the guy who does all the good dissection. He's going to tell you everything about how a shark does what. Let me not say anything. Steve Ovo, are you there, Steve?
Shut up. Are we on?
Stephen, welcome. I think you have to be live. I'll give you the platform, my brother.
Okay. Right. Testing 1, 2. Are we on?
I can hear you, Steve.
I see you got the master technician, Paul, eh?
I've got a what?
The master technician.
Yes. He's a support act.
Yeah.
I cannot see you.
But I am there. You just tell me when I'm good to go, and then I'll start.
Steve, did you switch off your camera? We're good to go, my brother.
Our camera is on.
We can see you now. We are wearing all the white and all the white
Okay.
coats. And go ahead, Steve. Floor is yours. Thank
All
you.
right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen Mabugana, and we come from a company called Equa Amazing. And we've really come on board just to partner in line with adapting and changing. So we do a lot of these presentations in schools all over the country and parts of the world. And it's been a real privilege to be able to speak to so many different students in different provinces. So good morning, and also to Zelega was here before me. Brilliant work, lady. May you fly the South African flag high. Now, I've got a few geniuses here in Umlazi, in KZN. I've got a few volunteers that will just be getting involved. I don't have much time, so I'm really going to be speaking so fast, but don't feel intimidated. There is so much that you can't pick everywhere. What I do want to tell you, you can think of any dream, any career in the maritime space, and you would find a place that you can fit in. For example, you could be a fashion designer, and you could be the next fashion designer to design the next best swimsuit for guys like Zoleka, who's going into freezing Atlantic waters. You could be a person who likes fishing, and you could become a marine biologist who just fishes. Your life is to do what you love, to go and fish, pull out fish, and use that as samples and do research on that. You could become somebody who just tastes water to see the quality of water, to see if it's drinkable, not drinkable, if there's any pollution. There is so much of things. I am a boy from Limpopo, in Venda, in a place called Vuani. I'm sure you remember where the schools have been burning, and that's where I come from. And what I did is I was a cleaner, sweeping floors where there's dissections taking place. And my job was to clean up. And we've now turned that into a business, and it's been very, very sustainable. And it's really very, very gratifying. So I love what I do. So, in other words, I don't work, I just do what I love. So when we're talking about sharks and where do they fit into our lives, and you're asking yourself, hey, Mina, I don't see any future. I want to be a policeman because that's all I see. Hopefully, by the time we're finished here, we'd have opened your mind into various different things. Now, how many of you believe that every shark is dangerous?
All right. Log in again.
Okay. So some of us say that every shark is dangerous. It's
yeah.
not every shark that is dangerous. There are some sharks that are, some sharks that are not. I'm going to look at some of the sharks that are here. So you look at this shark here. This shark is called the tiger shark. What is it called? The tiger shark. Heavily serrated teeth. It bites through a turtle shell. One snap, no problem. It's a very powerful shark. It loves eating. It's a scavenger of the sea. So when you drink your water and you take your cap, this cap here, lands up in the ocean, it becomes what we call pollution. Lands up in the shark's stomach. The stomach gets full of caps and pens and straws and plastic, checkers packets, nappies. All of that lands up in there, fills up the shark. The shark then eventually dies. Sharks are very important for the ecosystem. It's what balances everything. So you don't have too much of fish, then sharks are going to balance that. So you don't have too much of sharks, and you've got orcas that balance that. So all of that is got to work in balance and in line with the ecosystem. This shark is an amazing shark. You find it a lot where river mouths, where there's a lot of flooding, the guys down towards the Eastern Cape and so on, you're going to find some of these. This shark here is the great white. Heavily serrated teeth. It's got different design teeth. It grabs at the bottom, smacks down at the top, takes big chunks of meat from its prey, and that's basically how it feeds. Most of these sharks will be found in Cape Town. They are also able to adapt in the cold and the warm temperatures. This one here is just a big version of this one here. So sharks grow to very big size. So the shark that we have on the table is called a black tip shark. They get to about 2.8 to 3, and sometimes a bit more. They are regarded to be potentially dangerous because they are kind of aggressive. the teeth do grow a little bit bigger. But the three sharks that would be dangerous is your great white, your Zambezi. Your Zambezi is a shark that can swim in salt water and fresh water. A lot of times in Port St. John's, you get a lot of those sharks attacking people. They do not attack because they attack because of mistaken identity. So what actually happens is that they're swimming, they're looking for food, and then they mistake you for a seal or for a dolphin. So we've got two sharks on the table. One shark is just for you as a display, and then this shark is the one that we are going to dissect. So I've showed you the dangerous one. This is the potentially dangerous one. And this one here is not dangerous. This shark is called, can anybody tell me? I'll give you a clue by you looking at the head. Okay? A hammerhead shark. If it was a Zulu shark, what would it be called? Isando. Okay? Sisando. Sisando shark. All right. So this is also a shark that is not dangerous because it's got very small teeth. You get three different types. You get the scalloped, which is this one here. It's got this here. You get the smooth, which is the opposite of that, it's very smooth. And then you get the great, which is quite a big shark. Sharks do not have scales. A lot of people say to me, can you see this here? This is not scales. It's small teeth on the shark skin that actually protect the shark. So it's very, very strong. Okay. And that's how it protects itself and also helps it with what we call aerodynamic or aquadynamics, where it's swimming. It makes it a very good, fast swimmer. This shark here, or any shark, it's a cartilaginous fish. It does not have bone. It is a fish. It does not have bone. Very, very flexible, as you can see here. They can do all these moves over here. When I cut through, you'll find no bone. How do you know if it's a boy or a girl? How do you guys know if you're boys and girls? So, it's slender. In my hips. Okay. So if it's a boy or a girl is very easy. So if I can get the camera to zoom in here and you look underneath here, can you see these two things? What would you say this is, a boy or a girl? But it's got two, okay? So a male shark has got two totoloses, one here and another one over here. So that is how we know that that is a boy. If it's a girl, it would look, just zoom onto my hand, it would look like that. So it would have an opening, but with three holes. One is for the poo. The other two is for these two shandises to come inside. A human being has got one uterus, but a shark has got two. One on the left, one on the right. That's why the man has got. All right. So that's how you know if it's a male or female. When I'm cutting through, can you see there's no bone at all? Right? It's very, very nice. Do you think we can eat shark? Yes, we eat shark. Yeah, I'm eating nyama vele. Okay, so if we cut through, no bone. When I come here, I've got a little bit of bone. Cartilage. Nasal. The first organs, okay? So the guys with the jaws, you guys, thank you very much. You can go and sit down. I'm going to need another volunteer. Please come forward. Volunteer. What's up, Pat? The first organ that we take out is the shark's liver. What's this? The shark's liver. Ngezulu bathini? Sibindi, nazol. No time for gloves. What's up, mama? Give me your hand. There we go. So this is the shark's liver. It's one liver, but it splits up into two. Can you see that? So there's one down. It's actually one, it splits up into two. Wonke laguna anpagat, kuna mafood. It takes all of that energy and it stores it up inside here. So when you take your finger and you you take your finger and you poke it through, you can see all the oil oozing out of there. It's very, very oily. This helps the shark to stay afloat because oil is lighter than water. So it helps it with buoyancy. Thank you very much. You can go and wash your hand. Thank you, Sisi. Give a big round of applause. I need another volunteer.
Steve, I wonder how does it smell over there? How's the smell, Steve?
The smell is something fishy, eh? So basically, that's a very good question. Can you smell it? Okay. So to give you an idea, guys who are not in the classroom, is the smell strong or is it okay? Aninamanga. What you are smelling now is chemical. So I put in a lot of chlorine. We make a mixture to kill the smell. If there was no chemical here, there would be no audience here. Okay, I can guarantee you. Now, this is the shark's stomach, ladies and gentlemen. The whole thing, it's like a long drop. I need the long drop system. So can you see, is it big or small here? Does it look small? But watch what happens. This can stretch and accommodate my hand. Look at that. So it's a whole muscle that can stretch. When a shark is eating up too much food, it wants to eat up some more, for example. It can take the whole stomach, it palas, turns it inside out of its mouth, cleans it up, then sucks it back again. Like. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to turn this inside out, and then my volunteer is going to try and tell us what is inside. Can you tell us? Okay, I need to adjust my. So here we go. So I'm going to turn it inside out. What do you think we'll find? Fish. Because hammerheads like to eat fish, octopus. You got it. Okay. You know when you go to the KFC and you have the crusher, I put me ganja crusher. So there's a there and voila. What do we have? Can I get some water? There we go. What is that? It's the head of a fish. Angeti, just wash it for me. It's your braai, man. Thank you. So that's a whole head. So what happens with these sharks is because they got small teeth, they grab, swallow up whole. And that is where you can see there's one bite, two bites. The balance is either, oh, it's inside. There we go. So there are some pieces here, and there's the tail. So you can join it up and make a fish. Now, how come when the shark eats up the whole thing, why do we have so little but left? Because it's got very strong gastric juices. Very strong gastric juices that they will break down all of that food. I'm going to show you the heart. Do you think or it's got a big heart? Okay. So the heart is tucked away in its own cubicle of cartilage. Let's check this out. So in here is the heart. A human being has got how many chambers? 4. In 2 live. A shark has got 2, a human's got 4. Blood goes in, blood goes out, finish and clear. As you can see, there's very little blood here. So as the shark breathes, the way that it breathes is, oh yeah, how does the shark breathe? The gills, not gills, gills. So water goes in the mouth, and put your hand inside here. In here, in the gills. Put it inside. You want gloves? Can I get you gloves? So that's how it breathes. Water in the mouth and then comes out of the gills. And that is how it circulates the oxygen. The heart doesn't need to do too much of work because as the shark is swimming, it uses its body to contract and release. As the muscle is swimming, it contracts and releases. And that is what helps it to circulate the blood through the body as well. So it doesn't have to have a big heart. What was that? They like the live stuff, eh? There we go. My heart, eh? There we go. Is it a big heart? Very small. And all of this here is muscle, okay? It does exactly what your heart would be doing, but it just got 2 chambers. Thank you so much. Can Can I get one more volunteer? We're going to do the last organ. The ladies are brave in the school, eh? There we go. Hold here for me. This is the shark's intestine. Okay? NgeZulu bathini amathumbu. In Venda, we call it mara. Yeah, mara. Now, have you seen a chicken's one? A chicken's one is a lot of complication. Now, when the shark is just one straight tube, but watch what happens. When I cut, when I cut the first layer, it opens up like a newspaper. Look at it. All of that. So as the shark, this is how, you know what this is, eh? The poo. Yeah, in English, it's the poo. So all of this here is the waste that is coming out. Through that, it gets absorbed in that membrane. It comes out what is called the cloaca. If it's a lady, if it's a male, you got two. What's this thing's called? Not tautolosis, man. Right? It's called claspers. So the female will have an opening like that, and the two is where the uteruses come, get connected, and that one is where all of that waste will then come out. Let's go through the sensors very quickly. And to the guys that are running the program, you just tell me as to how much more time I have. So when it comes to the sensors, you got the eyeballs. A shark can see 10 times better than a human being. Very, very well. Okay? So that's it over there. Can you see? And it can see all around. With these sharks, they've got the eyeball on the side here. That's why you see it when it's swimming, it's like Stevie Wonder. Yes, that's how it's looking around. It uses the whole head that if it's caught something, it pins it down and holds it down in its place. I want to show you something. The mafingiles. I need a volunteer. Come. Guys, I hope when we go to other schools, the schools will be as volunteering as these guys. So give me your hand, Sisi. So give your hand over here. I've cut the snout, né? And this is what we find inside. The mafingiles. So this is it. Now, what does that do for the shark? A shark uses this. This is called, not mafingiles, it's called the ampullae of Lorenzini. What is it called? Nazor. As a shark is swimming, have you been watching National Geographic? You find the shark is just chilling, né? And then all of a sudden, bah! It eats something in the sand. How did it know? This ampullae of Lorenzini picks up the heartbeat of its prey, the heartbeat, because our hearts produce some signal of electricity, and that is what this picks up. And then it knows exactly, there we go. Kune fish pagas. Okay, thank you so much. Give a big, big round of applause. Then you've got the nostrils. That's over here. The nostril is only there for picking up smell. So if you are bleeding, a shark will pick up 1 teaspoon of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming. That's a very big swimming pool, okay? So you put in some blood and it will be able to smell that. It smells very, very well. When it picks up vibrations in the water, vibrations are picked up by what is called the lateral line system. It's a line here. You can see where the colors are changing. Okay, there's it over there. There's it right here, okay? It picks up vibration. So if a fish is caught in a fisherman's line, right, and the fish is fighting, the lateral line system will pick up those vibrations so in the water and say, aha, why must I go and chase a fish there when that one I know is already caught? That's why when you find a fisherman, he pulls out the fish and the body is gone, but only the head is left. Okay, so that's how those lines work. Gestation. There are three different types. You got aplacenta viviparous development, oviviparous development, and placenta viviparous development. Placenta viviparous means that the babies inside the mother are connected by an umbilical cord, like you and me. But remember that a shark has got two uteruses, 3 holes, 2 uteruses. So that's how they are connected. So as these babies are growing, they are busy eating from the mother through the umbilical cord. That's how you were born. Is there any twins here? No twins. Okay. Aplacenta viviparous development is where the babies are not connected. So how do they eat food? 3G, Wi-Fi. They will look around and then the mother will continue ovulating. She'll continue producing eggs. Then those babies eat on that. When they finish the eggs, then they look around and they say, hey, kanti kunje, do unto others before they do unto you. So it starts eating all the brothers and sisters. So only one baby from the one uterus and another baby from the other uterus is actually going to survive. That is aplacenta viviparous development. Those sharks are pregnant for like a year. How long is a woman pregnant for? Oh, right? But the ragged tooth is pregnant, like the raggy where they'll be pregnant and the way the babies eat each other. It's called interuterine cannibalism. Sounds like a very big word, but inside uteri, the uterus, cannibalism. Cannibalism is when a human or something eats its own kind. You understand? So that's what happens. Then you got ovioviparous development. Ovioviparous means that the mother will lay an egg, and then over a period of time, those eggs will hatch and they sit in a purse like this. Sometimes you'll be walking on the beach and you see something that looks like a square, and on the ends it's got handles or fingers, right? But then you know that there was an egg inside and it hatched, and then those babies were born. Baby sharks do not need the mother. When the mother gives birth, they must swim away because kunzima. If the mother gives birth and she's hungry and she's given birth to 20 babies, she looks around and says, oh, you are so beautiful, I could eat you up. And that is what she does. She eats them up. So there's no parental guidance. And remember that the babies are born with all their senses, all their teeth, all their eyes, smell, lateral line system, taste, shanana. It's just ready to survive and to live on its own. Boys and girls, I want to tell you that there is nothing that limits whatever you want to achieve. No limits. There is no limits. Especially where you have, this is a commercial school. You'll do commerce and all that. So it's for clever people. Whenever you walk through that gate, you must tell yourself, Mina, I'm not going through a normal school. I'm going to a school for leaders, for ministers and presidents, businesswomen, doctors, professors. But when you walk in here, you walk in with pride and you grab the opportunity, especially to everybody that's watching now. You grab the opportunity. There are many, many millions of children that are not getting this opportunity. You are. If it means go and Google, go and Google. If it means go and ask, go and ask. If you need to ask me questions, you do that, because you never know what you're going to be one day. You might have a vision, but your vision might just be very small, because you look at your environment and you say, Mina, I stay in a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom RDP. That is where I want to be. Never limit your vision. Everybody is born with a purpose. Everybody. This guy is wearing a coat today. On the long run, he might just be the same doctor that you're going to go and visit. He could just be the same professor that we need to send us to space. When are we going to see South African rockets going up to space? When? You know when we will? When you guys fulfill your vision. Because somewhere along the line, you contribute to something. You know what I do for a living? Okay? I dissect sharks. Did you ever think that could become a job? You ever think that it could become something that buys house and cars and everything. It's a dirty job. I love it. I can do it with my eyes closed. Because what I learned when it was tough, Ubaba Wame used to work in Zurich, this deep. Ulakuzokela, this deep. And he would be opening the pipes. Why can't I do this? Your mother, your father, if you're lucky, if you have the.
Called plumbing.
I can't hear you.
I'm saying it's called plumbing.
Oh, it's called plumbing today. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
That's the English word.
The English word is called plumbing. There is, do you know, you're talking about plumbing, my brother. I had a plumber, an old man. I brought him from Venda, an old man. He came to do plumbing in my house. Do you know how much he charged me? Guess. He was there for maybe collectively 1 month. Do you know how much he charged me? Eh? Who said 40? I paid him 60,000 rand just to connect plugs and pipes in my house.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. Who would want 60,000 here? But every day, now listen, every day you wake up, you jump over the pipe that's leaking. That was your practice that you just jumped. Umkuluzo figure, last no, it's 10,000 uti I can't delay pipe. What you are wearing, have you ever sat and said, what is it that makes this? So the masks, some of the masks, your mask, this mask, that mask, that mask. Who makes that mask? Who made that mask? Okay? Who made it? A black, an Indian, colored, or white? A black. Where are they? Eh? They are somewhere. Ask Lucky, there's Lucky. Ask Lucky who made that mask. Can I have your mask? Let me see your mask. So ask Lucky who made that mask. You see this cotton here? That one. The one that is bluish. I made this mask.
Oh, nice.
And we made 3 million of these masks. You know why? Because Umama Wame and Lucky as well used to sit on that machine sewing like this. And because of their passion, and I saw the struggle, but yet I saw they survived, it means it's an opportunity. Am I right?
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to leave you with this. There is no limitation. Work hard. It's your time to study. That's all you do. When you finish matric, it will be another chapter of your life. But for now, you have that opportunity. And by the way, you are halfway through the year. I think if I'm not right, you've only got about 2 more months put together. 2 more months before you finish. Down low. No, thank you so much and have a great day. Give yourselves a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Stivovo. I think you have said it all. Usually the motto of the schools is enter to learn and leave to serve. Enter to learn and leave to serve. And I think, Stivovo, you are an example of what serving is. Bringing a shark to somebody's classroom is not a child's play. And I have a feeling that Stivovo, I didn't hear your company's name. Say that again, Steve.
It's Aqua Amazing.
There we go. So I'm hoping that, I think the other schools are also envious. They want to see this in real life and in real action and touch the shark without fear or being scared. I would like to thank you very much, Steve. I'm surprised at how the young lady threw away the heart of the shark. So, but I'm surprised at how small it is. Thank you for the very informative dissection, Steve. Colleagues, I want to move us from, we've gone from the bottom of the ocean, we did the shark dissection. Now we are coming to have a whale of a time. I'm bringing to you someone who comes from, where do you come from? Temba. He comes from Temba, Pretoria. But this is a guy now who's studying whales, and he knows things that you don't know about whales. And he promised me that you are going to have a whale of a time. So I'm going to let him sit where I'm sitting. I'm going to take a back seat and let him do what he's got to do. I've got a sanitizer here, my brother. Please come through. Please come through. Ladies and gentlemen, Mduduzi Siyakamela. So you can share your screen.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, all. I will be presenting to you some stuff on whales. Just have to share my screen, and then we're gonna have fun. Can you see my screen on your side? Not shared yet. Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, like I said, my name is Mduduzi. I come from Temba, and I will be talking to you about whales. Pardon? Oh, it says sharing here. That's weird.
Can you see the screen?
Up there, there is a Does it show now? Okay, cool, thank you. This technology is not for us. We grew up in the times of not even callbacks, when there were still containers around the corner to make a phone call. Anyway, my name is Mduduzi, as I said, but you can call me Mdudu. And I'll be talking to you a bit about whales. And before I can even get to that part, the technology has started again. Paul? Play. There you go. Anyway, my name is Mdudu once again. Now we're on a roll. This is my introductory video, just to show you how much fun I have when I'm in sea. Doesn't pay much, but trust me, it's very much fulfilling. All the way from Temba, we don't have an ocean there, but we've got rivers and dams, and I really do enjoy this. Just for your information, whales eat sharks. Steve Ober knows that killer whales have been terrorizing white sharks in South Africa. And I'm saying that so that you have an option to study should you not want to study sharks. Now, what is a whale? There's been quite, historically, particularly, there's been a huge confusion as to exactly what a whale is and what a dolphin is and how exactly they differ. Now, I say to you, if you walked on the beach and you found, say, on the bottom left, a whale that size, or rather an animal that size, and at the top, you saw that animal that size. I'm putting the humans there so that you can see the scale difference on what the sizes are relatively. And at first, one would say, no, the one on the bottom is a whale and the one at the top is a dolphin. But really, both of them are actually whales. One is probably the smallest whale on Earth, and another one is one of the big whales that occur in South Africa. Now, why I'm saying this is because historically, when most of these animals were named, they were named in the context of who saw them first. Like, for instance, what you call a killer whale. The scientists have actually, back in the day, they have already established that a killer whale is actually not a whale, but it's a dolphin. And I know you're probably shocked where you are, I can promise you. But in a scientific world, we call dolphins and whales cetaceans. And what this means is basically what weight is derived from. It's derived from those two weights, cetas and ketos, which basically one is Latin and the other is Greek. One tells you that this is an alien large sea creature, the other one is a sea monster. So people were not really creative back in the day as to what was what. So any dolphin, they say, every dolphin is a whale, but not every whale is a dolphin, which is very confusing, I know, but that's not my fault. I found it like that at Wits University. Now, if I will give you this slide, it will show you the smallest whale to be found alive, which is the dwarf sperm whale. It's basically, if you know a sperm whale, it's a very big animal, and this is a small relative, hence the term dwarf. And then on the right, you've got the biggest whale, which is the blue whale. It can grow up to 32 meters. That's more than a Constantine bus, a really Constantine. And then it can weigh up to 150,000 kg. So it just gives you the idea of how these will differ in scale, and you can't just use size exclusively to determine whether one is a whale or a dolphin. Now, just for your information, until now, after the dinosaurs were wiped out, whales are now the largest living creatures on Earth. If you beg to differ, we can take it outside. But I can promise you that in the world, the entire globe, where there's about 80-odd more species of whales and dolphins that are recognized, the Southern African region constitute 63%, I beg your pardon, of all the recognized species. So 51 species occur from the equator, there around Gabon on the west, all the way down, including on the east, all the way down to South Africa. We know that 51 species at least have been identified positively that are extinct. Extinct means they're basically alive. So there's a high biodiversity of species in this region. But you may not know all of them, so I'll just give you three that you probably have bumped into, especially all of you in the coastal towns, the lucky ones from Hermanus. You probably at some stage bumped into a great whale, or a Hamburg whale, or a southern right whale. Then they look something like this. British whale is about, goes up until up to 50 meters, with about 10,000 kgs. Hamburgs can grow up to 17 meters. The southern right is the heaviest of the three. It can grow up to 16 meters. So in essence, it shows you how beautiful these animals, or these animals are in terms of how they appear. You can see the illustration that I took from the Encyclopedia of Marine Mammals. And this is Wusak that edited it, and he's showing these illustrations there. Now, whether you like it or not, whales have always been involved one way or another in this money. I know that South Africans, we are not so proud of our whales, and we are obsessed with these land animals like lions and stuff. But honestly, whales have been at the core of money-making schemes. Not only that, but also subsistence. Subsistence means you are farming or you are growing chickens at home just for surviving. You don't want to sell to people. So back in the day, the Khoisan, the Khoi and the San people, they used whale bones, for instance. When a whale came and died on Rotterdam Beach, they would take the whale bones and build houses from them. Well, they call them huts, but at the time that was as good as it went. They also used it for meat, proteins, and others used it for, as you see on the bottom right, they use it for oil that they used in lamps. So that's a typical lamp that I found from the Science Museum website. On the top there is a typical structure that was built by the Twi people. And then on the bottom left, it's the meat. They're processing meat, whale meat for eating. All of this was made just for subsistence. And later, this became all about the money. Like in Durban, this is a place called The Bluff. It's on the east coast of South Africa. And there, they used to process whales. Whales were hunted in South Africa, unfortunately. It was a gruesome kind of an exercise, but at the time it made sense to them, not anymore to us. We see things differently now as the now generation. at least since the 70s, whale harvesting or whale hunting has been frowned upon. So slowly but surely, whales stopped being harvested. Now, still on whales and money, there is a move at the moment from conservationist and a photographer. So we call it whale dancing. So these whales are dancing. And there are two ways you can enjoy all of this. One way, you can kill all of them, eat their meat, or you can go in the field. Hopefully it gets cheaper as time goes so that we can all go. But you can go into the field, dive with these things, see them from a boat and go, wow, it's really beautiful. It's breathtaking. You must try it. Especially you guys on the East Coast, you don't enjoy them enough. You should enjoy these things. Now, what can science tell us about all of these? What can we get in support of trying to better the knowledge of dynamics of whales in general? I'm talking dynamics means every aspect of whales needs to be understood in order for government and all the people that are getting involved in conservation and welfare can understand what they're doing. So this is where research comes in. You cannot manage what you do not understand. I think that's the bottom line. And as such, we go out, a lot of money is being invested in marine research, in particular whale research, where we go out to sea with this 40-year-old or 47-year-old ship, and we look for various dynamics. It's not just us. There's many institutions in South Africa that are actually doing this. For instance, you could go and look at their distribution. There's a group of interns there that I went with last year to see. We look at how these animals are distributed, where they are, how many they are, and really, what are they doing there? And the only way it can make sense is if you use this in combination with other sets. You can see this map that I got from a paper by Jean Pedden that was released last year, where they're showing a distribution of various species of cetaceans in South Africa. This comes partly from the distribution studies that they conducted. But there is another layer that you can add. Like our sister Zolega was saying earlier, there are linkages between what's happening at the seafloor with what is happening at the top that we see, you and I, which is top predators like whales and sharks. How that happens is that various water processes or ocean dynamics, the MC here can explain it better, he's a physical oceanographer by trade. But what happens is that the geography of the earth, particularly under the ocean, the submarine environment, influences what's happening. Like on the West Coast, I went on a cruise with Zolega, where we looked at the distribution and the diversity of species that occur at what we call a canyon. A canyon basically is a canyon, you know, it just happens to be the water. There's also mountains in the water. All these structures underneath affect what happens up above. And we need to get all these linkages, and that's why you can't just do this alone. We can also go with the DNA. We can go small boat, approach these whales, take skin samples. It's not so complicated. It's that the analysis is complicated. So you can be a molecular biologist where you come, you work with us, cetacean biologists, and you help us look at the molecular aspects of it. Here is a trip that we conducted about 2 years ago. At the back there is Miniam Kotze, it's my skipper and my colleague. And here we were taking pictures and collecting samples of whales. It's also possible that you can do that. It's possible, we love it. And then we have also other issues that we look at, species interactions themselves, how these species interact and how they affect the ecosystem when they interact. You can do that as well. You can be an ecosystem modeler. You can do anything around trying to understand, choose one item and then run with it. Or you can look at all of them in a modeling fashion. Why I'm showing you this video? Because it shows you one of the few times that actually all these animals come together. Sharks, whales, dolphins, and all they mean to do is to harm. So they meet around something called the Sardine Run. Sardine Run is an annual event in South Africa where you see the fish, particularly the pelagic fish, I think your sardines and your pilchards, they come from the west coast and they go all the way to the east coast, and along the way, they get cornered by all these species, and because they're trying to run away from them, some of them get trapped, and then we find them coming onto the beach, and you know what happens. Everybody in the east coast, from Eastern Cape all the way to KZN, they have free fish. They call it the Sardine Run. This is the only time you can really see sharks and whales interacting with each other, although the killer whales are not there. So Stivo will be happy about that. Now, moving from that, you can also look at the feeding dynamics. For you to understand how the whale populations are performing, you need to link that to some element of this ecosystem. For instance, we discovered some few years ago that South Africa has an area on the west coast, on the Atlantic side, where whales meet in large numbers. Up to 250 whales can gather in an area that's about, say, 5 football pitches or rugby pitches, depending on your reference. And they just feed. They do that from late October, sometimes all the way to February. Why is this special? I can promise you, you probably didn't know this, but whales, particularly migratory whales that come to our country, they spend time in cold areas called the polar regions, the Southern Ocean and Antarctica. They spend their winters there, and then they come here. I beg your pardon. They spend their summers up in the polar regions, and they come here in winter to give birth. So down south, all they do is feed throughout, and then they come here to give birth. The Hermanus people would know they've got what we call the southern right whale that breeds off here. It gives birth here because the water is more warmer than down there. So it will basically, if they give birth in the south, they're by ice and snow and all those things, the babies will hardly survive. So our areas, our waters are perfect for the southern right whales, whereas on the west coast, because of the productivity and the richness of that area in terms of food, there's something called krill that has now popped up in large numbers, and whales are just targeting it. So year in, year out, we go out on the ship and we look at these whales. The footage you see now, I'm actually mandated to tell you it's from National Geographic and it's not yet released, and I'm just using it under permission for educational purposes. So please, let's go ahead. Now that is it. We call those things Hamburg supergroups. See how tight they are? It's just whale after a whale. They're just coming, surfacing, going under, eating, coming up, surfacing. If you see this live, you'll probably explode just from being awed. It's how can I put this? It's mind blowing. So it will blow your mind, literally, if you can't handle it. But we've been seeing, we discovered this around 2014 from this particular project we run on the West Coast together with our partners. And this has been very nice. Another issue that you can look at is the Another issue you can look at is the health and condition of these animals when they are around. In particular, the University of Pretoria shared this video with me yesterday, whereby they went out to study the condition of the females that are giving birth in South Africa. And here you can see a southern right whale, the one that is found this side on the south coast, with his baby. So they look at the condition of the mothers from when they get here until they leave to infer some sort of condition and health in this population. But this population hasn't been doing so well in South Africa generally over the past few years. Now, combined with the fact that the boat-based whale watching industry that takes people out to see these whales depends on these species, partly, it is worrying because once the species disappears, that means there's no more business in Hermanus. There's no more business in Plain Bay or anywhere else where they depend on these species being present in our waters to survive. So you can immediately see the interlinkages between economy and conservation. The more we conserve these things, the more we can make money out of them without killing them. And my name is Mduduzi Siakamela. I thank you very much. Thank you, Lou. Thank you very much. I think it's a way of time, and as we go from the shark to go to the whale to the shark and all the other stories, we are coming straight from the National Sea Rescue Institution in Havana, NSRI, for Station 17 in Havana. And I have here with me John Langenhoven, who is the operations manager for the from KZN all the way to I think my right is wrong. And John is going to tell us what they do at the NSRI and how the NSRI assists in terms of rescue and searching for people that are lost. John? Good morning, everyone. Yes, the NSRI is a national based volunteer-based organization. So we've got about 50 stations around the South African coastline, but also on our inland waters today. The whole organization is run by volunteers, and we primarily are there for rescuing people at sea. But we don't always just not concentrate on human rescue. We rescue people and everything that is out there that's rescue whales, dolphins, birds. So yes, there's and people. They're really important. So yeah, there's anything out there that's probably needs some help so I'm currently standing at our rescue base. There's unfortunately not much inside the construction, but this is where we keep our rescue book. All right, we'll just move over to the presentation. And I'll run through a short slideshow with you, just to show you what it is that we do. Okay, can you use that microphone? John? All right. So yes, this is just to, can I just tap on the, to make it full screen? Yeah. There we go. All right, so the National Sea Rescue Institute works together with SWADEN, which is the South African Whale Disentanglement Network. And together, when there's a whale in distress, we will go out and assist rescuing that animal.
Whale rescue is completely different to the normal rescue or the human rescue that we do. When a person is in trouble at sea, everything happens quite quickly. We need to get that to that person as fast as possible to help that person who's in distress. When it comes to whale disentanglement, it's completely the opposite. Everything happens slowly, and we approach the animals with much more, well, still a lot of care, but everything happens sort of in slow motion. There's various items that we use when we do whale disentanglement. On the screen there on the right-hand side, you will see some metal objects, which is the cutting blades that we use. So along our coastline, we've got various commercial type operations where it's either fishing nets or it's crayfish traps that is left for a period of time. And those nets are then attached to lines and buoys to be picked up at a later stage. Sometimes these whales get entangled in these ropes and buoys. And the more they sort of struggle to get off it, the more they entangle themselves, and it sort of holds them down, and they sometimes struggle to actually stay afloat, to breathe. And then people normally from the coastline, they would see these whales struggling, and they will call us, and we will get our vessels and all the equipment that we need. We've got a crew that is specially trained to do this, and we will then go to sea, firstly to try and locate the whale. Once we've located it, then slowly approach the whale, and we basically attach ourselves to that whale. We've got, so on, like I say, on the right-hand side there, at the top is the cutting blades that we use. On the next slide, that's the cutting blades. And there on the left-hand side, you'll see what we call grappling hooks. So we've got those orange buoys at the top, which is attached to a rope. And then at the other end of that rope, we'll have these grappling hooks. And we'll throw that and attach ourselves to the ropes that is attached to the whale. We'll then switch our motors off, the engines of the boat. And as soon as the whale is sort of calmed down, we'll pull ourselves closer to the whale. And then by using the cutting blades and extension poles, we'll make sure to start cutting away some of these ropes, but make sure that we don't cut the wrong rope, because otherwise the whale will sort of swim away, still having a whole lot of these lines attached to it. So we make sure when we go closer, first to have a good look where we need to start cutting, and then start working on it. A few years ago, we were out on an exercise close to Gansbaai. And while we were taking a break, we were approached by this whale that you see on the photo here. And we were just lying, the boats, the engines were switched off, and all the crew was just taking a little bit of a breather. And suddenly this southern right appeared and came up underneath us. And she sort of swam away and came back, and she did that about 6 times. And it's thinking in hindsight as if she wanted to keep us there because she knew something was coming. And it was in about, I think, about half an hour after that, we received a call of an entangled whale off the coast at Kleinmond. So there's just another picture where she came in for another look at us. I think she was more wanting to have a look at us than us looking at her. Just another picture where she again came in to have a look. And there's a snap of a tail as she'd gone down. But like I said, and then we received a call from people in Kleinmond, which is not far from, it's just on the other side of the bay, saying that they can see a whale, and they can see yellow ropes, and they can see an orange buoy attached to it. So we immediately turned around, we had our equipment with us, and we went across the bay to go and locate the whale. And as soon as we got there, the smaller vessel, which is on the screen there, then slowly approached the whale. They managed to pick up the lines. We didn't need to use the grappling hook. We just picked up on the line that was already attached to the whale. That's the orange buoy right next to our vessel. And then we waited until she got more relaxed before we could approach her. Because the problem is 90% of the time, the rope is attached to the tail end of the whale. And that's the big dangerous part of it. And that's where you have to get close to be able to cut those ropes. So you've got to be very careful, because if that tail comes down, just one slap can break your neck. So it's quite dangerous. And it's sometimes a very long, lengthy, time-consuming rescue. It's not something that just happens quickly and we're done with it. There you can see another shot of the boats behind the tail, where the guys are sort of working on it to try and figure out which lines to cut and where we have to cut. So there she calmed down a bit and gave us time to come in closer. Again, they are busy cutting and making sure that they cut the correct lines. And then sometimes she gets a bit agitated and she starts slapping them, and then we have to move off. So we always keep the rope attached to us, but we sort of drift away just to give her some time to relax again. And there's another shot where she wasn't very happy with us. And again, waiting for her to calm down, to go in. And then you get to the stage where you go for that final cut. And it's always so fulfillment to know that last line, if you cut that and you see the line falls away and the whale drops away, that's always a nice experience. There you can see one of the crew members putting both hands up in the air because it was a successful one. Most of these disentanglements are successful. Sometimes, unfortunately, by the time we get there, some of these whales have moved off and we struggle to locate them. But like I say, 90% of the time we're successful and we can save these whales. And I think a lot of the times they appreciate it and they actually understand what we're doing. We've done quite a few where the whale would just go and lie still and allow us to do what we do. As if they realize we're not there to hurt them, we're actually there to assist them, and they allow you to do what you need to do. But yes, that is in short what Sea Rescue is about. Like I said in the beginning, we don't just rescue people, we rescue anybody and anything that is out there that is in peril and needs our help. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dion. That was really nice. Actually, there's a little video on YouTube that you Google it around entanglement. You can actually see a gentleman getting a parang clap from the one whale that he's trying to help. So it's not always that these whales understand when they're trying to help them. Sometimes they're in pain and they're just trying to react. I mean, they can say, Mama, yo. So literally what they do is just slap. Now, our MC has had to go take a radio interview. He's actually quite in demand this morning. So I was asked to please continue with his job. So please don't pardon us on that. Next up, we've got Kim McLean. She will be talking to us about plastic pollution. One of the biggest problems we face in the marine environment, yet we see it in whales, we see it in seals, we see it in birds, and Kim here is going to tell us more about the plastic pollution in our oceans. Kimmy, over to you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'd just like to say thank you to Forestry and Fisheries for the invitation. So far, it's been fantastic to also listen to the other speakers, very informative. Once again, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kim, otherwise nicknamed Shark Lady. I normally work with great white sharks, and we have done for the last 30 years. So I'm normally speaking on those lines. So today is very, very different, but very, very exciting for me at the same time. And I say exciting because we all know that the plight of plastic waste and plastics that are dumped inevitably land up in our oceans, and especially in South Africa with our vast marine life. It is something that we really have to, I'll be playing it afterwards, correct? So as I was saying, this is something that we really need to look at. Having worked all these years with animals and great white sharks, it has now come to my attention since I've had some boats in the Manus Harbour, the amount of plastics that are washed into our harbours, especially in the summer months. We get the winds that bring everything from the oceans in with current and with the wind, as I say. A lot of it is dumped from maybe trawlers, fishing boats, your tankers that pass directly in our fishing line lane, sorry, past the Manus, and as I say, in big storms you get kelp nets, I like to call it, because those kelp that get dislodged from the bottom of the ocean floor, they float and they act as a net and carry and collect all the plastics. And we will come down to the harbour on any given day and just find tons of plastic bags, earbuds, condoms, you name it, it is in the harbours. It can take our staff sometimes up to 2 to 3 hours just in our small harbour, around a couple of boats, to collect all this plastic. So as I said, I started Plastic Patrol now, which is an organisation started in 2018. It is now growing, and I'm trying to get it to grow to all the schools. So to all the schools that I'm busy speaking to, if any of you are in and around the Manus area, please visit us down in the Manus Harbour, and you will see Hope Spot Station 1 and the Plastic Patrol sign, and that's where you can come and chat to us, and we can encourage you as school children to get involved and to help us collect the vast amount of plastics that is collected in just our own area. You can imagine that plastic debris and plastic waste is worldwide. You can see it all the time, it's all over the world. But I would like to encourage the school children that are in and around this area to come and get involved, come and help us. Normally on weekends when you guys are off, come down, we'll give you some nets, we'll teach you how to go out on our little rubber duck that we have, and we have a bigger boat as well that we do go out deep sea collecting nets that come adrift from the trawlers. That happens on a regular basis. Sometimes our one fishing boat will invariably come back with large pieces of net that have broken away from these trawlers, and it has a devastating effect on the animals. Apart from huge nets like that, you also have plastic. People think that plastic, they can throw a plastic bag down on the floor, you can throw your plastic anywhere and it's just going to go away. Unfortunately, the reality is that plastic will never go away. It will carry on and carry on for years to come until it is broken down into microplastics. This you're going to see in a video that I've chosen to to show to you because it has more of an impact than me just carrying on and talking to you. You're going to see what it does to the insides of animals that actually think this is food and eat plastic. And then just before I go, I would like to say to every student out there that's listening, I'd like to give you all a project to do. We have beautiful beaches here. Do yourselves a favor. You need a bucket, a large bucket, a smaller bucket, and a spade. Go down to the beach and measure out, let's say, 1 meter by 1 meter. Fill your big bucket with seawater, and in that meter by meter that you've measured out, collect the top of the sand, put that sand into the water, and see what you're left with on the surface. You will be amazed at the amount of microplastics and how plastic bags and things are broken down. So, as I said, I encourage you all and hope to see you all, especially the ones in and around Hermanus. Come down and meet us and our team down in the Hermanus Harbour at the Plastic Patrol Hope Spot Station 1. And please enjoy the video.
Everybody uses things made of plastic, as well as things that come to us in plastic. There are many types of plastic, and they are all light in weight, low in cost, and can be used in all weathers. And they last long, really long. The funny thing is, we don't usually end up using plastic for very long ourselves. We throw away plastic bags, plastic cups and bottles, chips and chocolate wrappers, plastic straws, spoons, plates, and we throw them almost immediately after using them. Plastic is made of certain chemicals that do not decompose easily. Anything plastic takes a really long time to go away, and in that time, it does a lot of damage. The trash we throw away, if done properly, is collected from various places and is sent to a dump yard. At the dump yard, it is disposed of as best as possible. The plastic things are collected and then cut into tiny pieces, which are then melted and made into new shapes. In certain countries, plastic is reused to make furniture, clothes, and other useful things. But a lot of trash falls out of the garbage bins or is thrown away casually, carelessly, anywhere. What happens to that plastic? Well, it goes into our drains, our ponds, our lakes and rivers, and one way or the other ends up in our oceans. In all the oceans, everywhere in the world, there is a lot of plastic, floating on the surface and sunken like treasures in the deepest parts. Because of the waves and the sun, plastic things in the ocean break down into smaller pieces of plastic. The oceans are the home of many types of fish, animals, and even birds. They are not used to seeing brightly colored and slow-moving things in the ocean. They think it's food, and so they swallow these small pieces of plastic. Many mama and papa birds roam around for food. They return with plastic and feed them to their little babies. Their stomachs get filled. They think they are full and don't eat the food that they actually need. And because they haven't got the nutrition they need, they die. And when their stomachs are opened, it isn't a pretty sight. There are many, many, many ocean creatures that have died because of eating plastic. If you go to the beach, you will get some idea of the plastic that is out there in the oceans. Some of what is in the ocean comes back to the beach when the tide is low. And if we don't pick it up and properly get rid of it, it goes back into the water and causes more harm to the poor little birds, the fish, and the turtles. The oceans and the seas are home to some of nature's most special creatures. There are already more pieces of plastic in the oceans than there are fish. Each one of us must do something about the plastic that is out there. We must promise to use less plastic and throw away even lesser. Let's do something nice. For the animals in the ocean, for nature, and for our mother, planet Earth.
All right. Thank you very much, Shark Lady. It's Kim McLean, and she's not only Kim McLean, she cleans the beaches and encourages you to clean the beaches. Please do the right thing and do that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am surprised I haven't got any questions from anyone so far. Do I have any questions from somebody or anybody? No, no questions. Any questions? No questions. Looks like you're very, very tired. Are you? Are you tired? No. Any questions? I don't see hands, but maybe somebody can assist me with getting the hands. I would like to thank everyone who has given us all the informative presentations. National Sea Rescue Institute for hosting us on this event. And I'm still waiting for the questions. Whilst I'm waiting for the questions, I would like to thank everyone. Stephen Mabungana from who was dissecting a shark live. I'd like to hear from those people who are there how the hands are smelling now after they were holding the livers and the hearts of the snout of the shark. I don't see any questions. Anyone who wants to ask a question? No. Solomon Masangu, apparently we have a question. Solomon Masangu, go ahead. We can't hear you, Sisi. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Okay. All right. How does it?
And how do we
All right. I think I'll give that to Mududuzi. Mududuzi, I'll give you the question now. Is that you only have one question? You only have one question. Okay. All right. And the second, yes, I get you. I'll give them to Mududuzi to come and address them now. Josh Randall. The floor is yours, Josh Randall. Thank you, Solomon Masangu. You have Josh Randall, you have muted.
I have a question for Mr. Steve. If the fish it has two chambers, does it have lungs? Can he please explain further and elaborate the breathing process and the transport of blood in the shark? Thank you.
Thank you, Josh Randall. It's Stephen. Stephen, is he still here? Steve, are you still here? But in the meantime, I'll give him Duduzi to say something about Duduzi. They want to know, how does a whale give birth and how do you differentiate between a male and a female whale? I think Steve put you on the spot because he explained those things, and I think you must come and say something about it. Come on the screen, brother. Okay, Mdu is here. He's going to answer you.
Hello. Thanks for the question. The first part, how does a whale give birth? It's the same as we do as humans. Females give birth, obviously. They are marine mammals, fully marine mammals. They give birth to a young. They've got a gestation period where they get pregnant. And at the end of the day, they give birth like we do. And the kids also, or rather what we call calves, they suckle milk just like we do. So they are fully marine mammals. And then males and females can be easily separated if you understand it in terms of specialization. You can easily tell from the way the reproductive organs are positioned. So basically, underneath, you've got a slit, basically just an opening that runs on the stomach towards the tail. And there you can easily, if you open it up, you will see that either it's got two close together holes or two holes that are spread together like this. So it's a complicated one, but you need to really open it up to see it. At face value, there's no way of telling unless a male and a female are sitting together like this. Then the small one is always a male. Females are always bigger than males in whales. I don't know if that helps. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Stephen is not here I wanted you to get a right answer for your question. But he says, I think the answer is something about this. There's no lungs and no cartridges. Or it's cartridges. It's not lungs, it's just cartridges. Yeah, I'll ask Steve to give us to write the answer for you. I don't want to mislead you because I'm a physical oceanographer. I don't do a lot of biology. Sorry about that. Josh Randall, you still have your hand up? Josh, you're on mute, Sisi. Josh Randall is on mute.
How do you check for the health and condition of a whale if it's always at sea and fish?
I think, can you do the question again, please?
How do you check for the condition and health of a whale or fish if it's always at sea?
You mean its health and condition?
Yes.
I'll give you the whale guy, the mammal specialist. Mdu, please come through. Give the answer.
Thank you once again, Chair. Generally, marine mammals, sharks, actually, let's call it all the animals at sea, they're very difficult to study because, especially the large ones, you can't catch them. So you use methods that can assist you with trying to understand their health at sea. For instance, if you take on a live one, there's two methods really. You can target the dead ones that come out, and then you then run a series of tests on what was wrong and what killed it. But that doesn't help much for the animal because it's already gone. That will just tell you what diseases or what conditions these animals do face. But then if it's alive, it will be difficult to take it to a vet to check. So what we do now, we take samples from it. For instance, the biopsies. When you take a biopsy sample, a biopsy is basically a skin sample that goes a bit deep into the blubber, the fat of a whale or a dolphin. And then through that, you can run a series of tests, but it's not everything, it's not conclusive. It's only certain tests that you can run on it. Toxicity, you can run some microplastic, for instance, traces of heavy metals. You can pick up all these things, hormones, from just a biopsy sample. And also with the whales, because like all of us, you know, Corona times, they always tell you about the virus, don't breathe into people's faces and all of that. The whales are also the same. The blow that comes out when the whale is exhaling, that particular blow contains cultures of microorganisms. So if you can collect that blow, it's easy to collect. You can collect the blow and run tests on it in the lab. That can also tell you to a degree how healthy that particular animal is, and you can infer for the population, know that how it actually works. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I hope it does.
I think Mdu gave his details, his contact details on his slides, on this last slide where he wrote, thank you. I hope you guys took it, and then because it's studying very nice and important things. I have space for one more question. That's the last one, and then everyone is off. Solomon Matlangu, is that you? Or George Randall, is that an old hand or is it a new hand? Solomon Matlangu, okay. I can't hear you, Solomon Matlangu. I think someone knows Suga Imlazi wants to say something, the people who were holding the shark. Okay, let me give Solomon Matlangu first, Mlazi. Solomon Matlangu, you are on mute. Okay.
My name is
Solomon Matlangu, come through.
My name is Siabuya Ntinga. And my question is that, is it true that when a whale is dead, its body becomes like a balloon? And if that's true, why does it happen?
And asikuvanga siya awuphinde futhi.
Is it true that when a whale is dead, its body becomes like a balloon, a hot air balloon? And if that's true, I want to know why does it happen?
All right, a male whale. Oh, okay. All right, Nduduzo will come and address you now. Ethekwini, Mlazi, Landelenina, Silindeni.
My name is Bonga Kumete. I have a question. So since the shark has got two uteruses, does fertilization take place at the same time? And when the offsprings are born, are they born at the same time? And my second question is, how old was the shark that we were dissecting here? And how do you tell, how do you know that it's maybe 5 years or 3? I'm
done. So you want to know if there are two uteruses, they give birth at the same time or so.
Yes.
I think Stephen Mabungani is there by you. Do you?
He's gone.
Oh, okay. But I'll get you the answer, and then I'll probably give you to the teacher, and then the teacher will give you the answer as soon as Stephen provides us with the answer. Is that fine for you?
I want it now.
Angioni expect yamashark, so angikwazi ukunikeza umbuzo impendulo khona manje ngoba ngizovele ngidukise. Kuke sonke ne. At least asingadukisi sonke. Please.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Do you want to answer that one? Josh Randall, do you want to ask one more? I see somebody's on standby. Go ahead.
May I please ask? I was thinking of becoming a marine biologist. So, like, I want to ask, how many years does it require to actually become a marine biologist? And does this department employ marine biologists?
So you say, how long does it take to study the marine biology, and does the department employ marine biologists?
Yes.
Okay. I can do the last part, or you can do both at the same time. Is that good? All right. Let me give you a quick example. For you to be a marine biologist, you need at least 3 basic years where you do your science and maths, and you can be a marine biologist, and you get your degree. Then you add another year, which is an honors. That's 4 years for you. And then if you want more money, then you go and do your master's, which is 2 more years where you do your theory and you do your thesis. We call it a thesis. Basically, it's a publication of the little piece of knowledge that you have made as a scientist to be. And then you can add another 3 years. You get a PhD, but now you will be a doctor. And as a doctor, you become a specialist. And we do hire a lot of marine biologists. I think we have about 10 in our department. And they range from anything from a scientist to a specialist scientist. So if you have got a good 9 years, you're still 19, I'm sure. By the time you finish your doctorate, you'll be 28, but you'll be earning at least 1 million rand per year. I think Mduduzi will give you, Mduduzi is a scientist. Mduduzi will give you the question, will provide the answer to the question that was asked earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for the question. Well, I think the question was why whales go like this when they are dead. Well, this is how it happens. When an animal dies, any organic animal, obviously decomposition kicks in. So in this case, in the viscera, or what you call a stomach of the whale, all the contents start to decompose, and some chemical reactions then take place, then releasing lots of gas. So this gas, because it can't necessarily escape, it starts to build up within the whale. And that's when you actually see that bloatedness, or the bloated structure that's coming up along the ventral grooves of the whale. So it's all gas, it's all the chemical processes happening inside the viscera that causes that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lucia. That's comprehensive. I don't know how to answer such questions. Please like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it has been a very nice time being together. I'm hoping that you had a whale of time and you managed to grasp a bit of information here and there from the specialists that you brought here. Right now, we are at the NSRI in Hermanus. That's where the whales come in, and a lot of tourists that come to look at the whales here. And they call it Station 17 as our NSRI, as George told us earlier. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your attention and your patience with us as we are trying to go through the technology. And I'm very glad that you actually managed to be with us. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask, you saw people have provided you with their email addresses and phone calls. Please feel free to do that. Otherwise, we'll provide those to the teachers so that you are able to access us. From me and my colleagues, we are coming straight from Hermanus in the Western Cape, and we are saying thank you very much for your patience and your attention. And may you all have a good day today. Happy World Oceans Day. Thank you.